Hello, everyone. The topic for the day is employee welfare and motivation. Remember, a motivated employee is the person whose all things are taken care of in terms of personal requirement, in terms of family requirement, and that is what employee welfare is all about. It so a welfare organization will automatically have a motivated employees and vice versa. Basically, why do we look for a employee welfare? Because it leads to a motivated employees. Why do we require motivated employees? Because this represent improvement in productivity. So let us come to the meaning and definition of employee welfare. Remember, employee welfare is to make that effort to make life worth living for all your employees. The mere fact that they are leading a life with dignity, they're leading an enriched experience, is what is to be aspired by the organizations towards its employee. So employee welfare, again, it's the effort that the organization makes towards the welfare of the workman, so that they go on to lead a dignity and dignified life altogether. So according to Todd, employee welfare means anything done for the comfort and improvement, intellectual or social, of the employees, and over and above the wages being paid, which is not necessity of the industry. So basically you might be giving the luxury of having a improved wage condition altogether. Let us understand, of having a improved work area condition altogether, if not work area, an improved personal life arena altogether. That means to provide them with a club facility, to provide them with a transport facility, to provide them with an accommodation facility, not only for themselves who are working for the organization, but also extend these facilities to the family member of the employees. This is what is meant by employee welfare. I am trying to tell it to you that employee welfare is basically all the good things that is done on behalf of the organization for its employee. So it is beyond the means of the perks of wages and benefit. So let understand the features out here. Now employee welfare is a comprehensive term. Did I said about the transport facility that has been extended, that can be extended? Let us talk about the accommodation facility that can be extended. Let us talk about the club facility, the recreation facility that can be extended. And there are many organizations, believe me or not, they not only extend education for the wards of the employees, but also hospitalization benefit, not only for the whole family but also to their parents. So things are taken care of. We are talking about the various service facilities and amenities provided to the employee for their betterment, for living a life with dignity. So the basic purpose, remember, is to improve the lot of working class, to expose him to the better aspects of life. Employee welfare is a dynamic concept. Remember, what is a luxury today will become a normal thing tomorrow. So yes, if we are going to extend them an accommodation, probably then the next year, the following year, the following decade, you have to extend the education benefit to the wards and the employees, or the hospitalization benefit that needs to be extended altogether. So the luxuries of today becomes the necessities of tomorrow. This is why we say it that employee welfare is a dynamic concept. Employee welfare also understands the fringe benefits and services. Now, what are the fringe benefits? We are not only talking about extending accommodation. Why don't we extend whole pay of the vacation for the employees and its family? Now, this is very true. You are giving a all paid vacation trip of the choice of the employee towards his destination, with the paid holidays altogether, not for only the employee but for the family also. Now, these are the fringe benefits that many organization or corporation won't mimic or can't mimic. So welfare measures may be both voluntary and statutory, as the case might be. There might be laws that needs to be given altogether, but more often than not, many organizations do it on their. So, objectives. Let us come to the objective. Employee welfare is in the interest of the employee, the employer, the society as a whole. This is very true. Remember, if the society improves, if employees are living a life of dignity, employers are living a life worth living, that means there is overall development of society. People are getting educated, people are getting best of the hospital facilities, people are getting exposed to the better work life balances. The objectives are sure what they are here to improve loyalty and morale of the employees. It means if an employee is taken care of, his all nitty gritty things, the requirement of the daily chores of life is taken care by the organization. Don't you think the employee becomes much more loyal, much more dependable towards the organization? Yes, it is true. That means there is less of absenteeism and less of attrition rate. People won't leave such a wonderful organization which takes good care of them. Welfare measure almost, remember, improves the public image of the enterprise, the goodwill of the enterprise or the corporation. a, a better image of the corporation plays manifold. It cannot be measured in terms of currency, but definitely it brings manifold returns in terms of business. There would be return customers because they know that this particular corporation is a responsible company. These people are going to be very transparent in their dealings. It helps to improve industrial relation and industrial peace. Yes, very true. A good decent welfare organization, you will never see unrest, you will never look for an unjust demand. You will see things going smoothly, operating, going as per the books. So overall, what does it mean? It means employee productivity improves like anything. By leaps and bounds is what the productivity is all about it. Remember, the objectives of employees is loyalty and morale, improvement in turnover, improvement in goodwill and public image, downgradation in terms of employee attrition rate and absenteeism, definite improvement of industrial relations and the peace in the way things have been carried out. Overall, essentially, productivity is improved drastically. So agencies for employee welfare. Now we will talk about the agencies that comes around it, that needs to be taken care of. We have to speak that the government, the federal government, the central government does has a lot of stake altogether. You have to go for them. They need to understand. They will mandate certain things, provisions for health, safety, and welfare. This is what we are talking about it, health, safety, and welfare. Then comes the state or provincial government. The government in different states looks to cater to its employees, the citizens of this their state, with certain freebies, certain facilities that has been extended. Let's say there might be provisions for tax rebate, there might be provisions for softer loans, and so on and so forth. In compliance, the organization has to work under the labor law. Similarly, we'll come onto it. The next point would be of the employers. Generally, employers doesn't want any unrest in the organization. They would always like to do certain pioneering work so that there is a sense of refilling, there is a sense of camaraderie within the employees altogether. So they will extend certain welfare measures on their own, despite they whether they have been prodded by the federal government or the provincial government. Trade unions are done little to use, probably that needs to be taken care of. We have to look into it. And then there is something called other agencies. For example, philanthropic charitable societies, and every organization, every country will have its own philosophical philanthropic charitable societies who take care about the destitutes, who take care about the downtrodden, who take care about so-called excluded people, class of people from this society. Is the other agencies that we talk about it. These are the things that needs to be taken care of. And move to the next types of employee welfare, which are two: intra and extramural. What is intramural is basically within the organization, within the company premises. What we can do it, we can have a canteen, we can have a uniform, we can have a creche for young children, lactating mothers, if you're talking about it, or let's say kindergarten children that goes around it. And then there are certain things called extramural, which are provided beyond the boundaries of the organization. And what are they? Let us have a look into it. They are nothing but the housing. They are talking about the education, which I've already spoken to you. They speak about the children welfare, probably the leave travel facility. Did I say that people can go for a vacation with their families and so on and so forth, which is all, or should I say, partially paid for. Then there are subsidized loan facility there to purchase heavy equipment for themselves. A modern day car is a huge kind of investment, and it takes a lot of things. Apart from it, if you want to furnish your accommodation, furnish your a house, there might be furniture allowances that is given. We have the cooperative stores wherein the daily groceries, daily requirement to maintain a healthy and hygienic life, things might be available at a cheaper rate. And definitely, yes, the vocational guidance as to what tricks, what trades needs to be picked up has to be understood. Now, this is all about intramural and extramural. Remember, intramural is within the boundary of the corporation. Beyond the boundaries, any activities that has been extended is all terminated, all clubbed under extramural activities. So, types of employee welfare that we go around it. Number one would be statutory types welfare works. What is it all about it? We have to talk about the legal provisions, the legal welfare, the piece of labor legislation that needs to be addressed. There might be some malified intention somewhere down the corner, so we need to have those statutory welfare. One of the major requirement is that within 7 days of every month, all the wages and salaries should be disbursed, given. Voluntary welfare, outside this activities that we go around it, comes the other part that needs to be taken care of, which is the social securities, the different ways of social security provisions that are there in terms of provident fund, in terms of pension, and so on. Next comes is social insurance. Now, social insurance is a common fund established altogether. We need to talk around it. What can be done? How can we benefit? How can we remit certain benefit to your employees altogether for the contribution that they have done for the organization, in terms of group insurance, in terms of accident insurance, in terms of any such thing as provident fund, and so on and so forth. Next is social assistance. We'll talk about the social assistance. Benefits are offered to person of small means by government out of its general revenues. For example, the old age pension that we are talking around it, we are looking at nothing but social assistance that is. Next come is the social security assistant or welfare that we need to go around it. Now, what are they? Foremost thing is the medical thing. Please remember the sickness benefit, the half pay leave, probably for which an employee can enjoy a leave due to illness at half the pay is sickness benefit in cash. Thereafter, we have something called retirement benefit, the invalidity pension in case, remember, you have not attained. When I say you, the employee has not attained superannuation age, but due to some misfortune has met with an accident which has rendered him not as productive or as contributor as a normal fellow would have been done. In that case, the employee is given an invalidity pension which can be extended before the superannuation ages that have been contributed, that the employee has contributed, so he or she will start receiving a pension for the rest of his life altogether. We have something called maternity benefit, again varies from society to society, economies to economies, companies to company, country to country, continent to continent, which varies from anything from 7 days to approximately 365 days, that goes around it. There are certain countries which actually gives a benefit of 365, but usually can I say, if I may, that usually anything between 90 to 180 days is what has been acceptable in majority of the company. Remember, 90 to 180 days is what we are talking of, 3 to 6 months. Then comes the accident benefit. Probably yes, there is a provision of taking care of in case not a major accident has occurred, the whole medical system, medical assistance has been extended. And then we have the survivor benefit. What happens at in survivor benefit, during the course of an action, an employee stands to lose his life altogether. So what happened to the dependent about the employee's family? So one of the survivors benefit, one of the family member is observed into the organization, given a job according to the qualification and the field as thing, as a benevolent factors, as a benevolent approach by the organization. So that means the company is taking good, decent care of the employees, because the employee have lost his or her life during the course of his or her work. Probably that thing is being taken into consideration, and with all benevolent approaches, and a survivor benefit is given to the another member of the same family so that they can go ahead with their life. So general opinion of any government is that the state shall, within the limits of its economic capacity and development, make sufficient provisions for security, the right to work, the right to education, the right to public access and assistance in case of unemployment, in case of old age, in case of sickness, disablement, and other cases of undeserved want. We come into the role of management of employees welfare. Now how do we go around it? So to keep the employees at a higher motivated levels, the employee welfare scheme can be classified into two things. What are they? They are nothing but statutory and non-statutory. Look at it. Statutory things are mandatory. The compulsion or the compulsory has to be given. Why? Because they have been mandated by the federal and the provincial governments. The law governing the employee health and safety is what has been mandated out here. You have to carry it, otherwise your probably the license for the company might be dissolved altogether. And then there is something called non-statutory, which is not mandated but recommended from, and it basically from an industry point of view, recommended on the industry point of view, which may be a particular company, a particular organization, a particular corporate can implement if it feels. So employee welfare statutory schemes are what? They are very simple thing. You have drinking water, you have facilities for sitting, first aid appliances, canteen facility, spittoons, and so on, so forth. The lightings. This is what we are talking around it. If you have anything that comes around which you don't understand, do let me know. What is the non statutory thing? These are public health cares. These are public requirement in terms of medical facilities, time and again, that needs to be caters for. Now we have the flexi time benefits. What is this flexi time benefits? Is that main objective is to attain, or let us have anything that goes around it, anything where the employee might have certain personal requirement which actually goes out. for certain jobs at different part of the at different part of his work time, so he or she can have a flexi time benefit, can make the loss of the time at some other time within the stipulated time frame. So you may take a flexi time, you might opt for a night shift, you might opt for 3 hours plus 6 hours of break shift, the way you want to go around it. So we have something called flexi time. We have something called employee assistance program. That is very true, that goes around it. Various program like for counseling services, if things are going out of the hand, if people are getting demotivated, if there are any grievance handling system that goes around it, we can go for counseling system. So there is the statutory method and there is something called the non-statutory method that goes around here. So we will be talking about it. We will have certain facilities that goes around it. Remember, drinking water facilities for sitting, first aid compliances, canteen facility, spittoons would be where probably in all places you have areas for smoking and so on and so forth. So you need to snub your cigarette butts, and that is where it is going around it. Lighting and things like that. Then comes the impact on productivity. The welfare measure aims at integrating socio-psychological needs for employees. Remember the unique requirement. There are many organizations nowadays which has a full-fledged working restaurant within the campus of the office altogether. What does it attain into? It means the socio-psychological requirements of the employees as taken care of. The structure and the process of the employee organization that needs to go around it. It creates what else? It creates a commitment towards the organization by in the workers. It ensures higher productivity, greater job satisfaction to the employees. Nothing can mimic this thing. Nothing can mimic the success of employee productivity in terms of the welfare measure taken by the organization. Due to the welfare measure, the employee feels that the management is interested in taking care of them. That is very true. And in return, what did you get? They get the management gets sincerity, commitment, loyalty of the employees towards the organization. This is what we are trying to tell it to you. The employee work with the full enthusiasm, fully energetic behavior, which results in higher production, higher productivity, increased profitability, decreased cost, so on and so forth. Before we come to an end of this slide, we have to go for ILO or International Labour Organization. What are the collective basis for financing activities like small saving? That is what ILO says around it, so that you have an emergency fund for the employees at all times. And this can be cooperative method. So it has adopted a number of convention and recommendation regarding industrial accidents and OSHA occupational safety and hazard analysis. It tells you about the family welfare and population education program that takes care about it. We have to remember that these needs to be addressed altogether, and with help of it, the government, the employees and workers, this is the crux of it. Then is the labor legislation, labor welfare, trade unionism, industrial relation. It is all been in the provisions of international labor organizations. So now I need to conclude this particular session towards it, which needs to be understood that the employers have generally accepted what is required in terms of welfare measures, and depending upon the priorities that the employer has or the facility which it has at its disposal, it gives a degree of importance. The degree of importance may vary, but does gives emphasis on labor welfare. With this, I come to the conclusion of this session. Thank you for watching this video.